always love talking about the book Profit First.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever read that. I think it's super helpful for entrepreneurs that in particular are not very sophisticated with financial management, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the CFO brain. They know that if they reinvest money in their business, they can, really grow it. That is to have the CEO mindset and understand that if you reinvest money back in your business, you can grow the business is both a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Right? It's a gift because you know how to do it and you can get great returns. It can be a curse because if things go wrong at some point, they can be going great and then one day go entirely all wrong. And you've grown this whole business that has never given you any profit. There's no profit to it. You've never taken money out, right? You've reinvested everything. So the book Profit First really helps to help people understand that you can have both. And actually, as entrepreneurs, typically, if we limit ourselves to how much we can reinvest in the business, we will actually find the most important things to do with that money instead of just saying yes to everything. And one of the things that the most successful people do and the highest net worth people do, and I've not only read about this, but I've seen it from my highest net worth clients, is that they say no to a lot of things, right? They really know how to say no to a lot of things. And so by doing that, they're able to say yes to the right things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Profit First does, right? If you've read that book, it helps you limit how much you reinvest into your company, not because it's a bad place to reinvest money, but because it forces you to really, as that CEO brain, hop in the driver's seat, take a second and say, I only have X dollars to amount. I'm not going to break my rules and, put more money in.
Yeah.
I'm taking the rest as profit, so what do I need to do with this money? And you already have that CEO brain to know if you reinvest in your company where you're going to get the best ROI.
Mm-hmm.
So now you really make sure that you sharpen up that skill. It's a super great book for people to read.
Yeah.
I've seen it work and change people's lives quickly, multiple times.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great book. I guess kind of what I wanted to include in this conversation today as well is just kind of maybe some simple steps that small business owners can do, even if they feel that they're not at the point where they're ready to, take that other step to start investing outside of their business. I think there's other ways that you can do that as well. The first one, we've kind of talked about it, investing in yourself and your education, making sure that you sharpen up on your skills and, you're going to workshops, classes, like educating yourself and making sure that you are the best that you can be within your business. That's a different type of investment, but I think that it pays in dividends.
Wasn't it Ben Franklin that said something like that? I think he said an investment in knowledge pays the best dividend.
I don't know.
Something along those lines. I'm pretty sure it's Ben Franklin.
That's a good quote.
Anyways, so love that. Best place to invest money sometimes is absolutely yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
So I think that's something important. Another thing that I see fairly often is a lot of business owners, as soon as they start to see success within their business and they start to have more income than maybe they've had before, they're starting to keep up with the Joneses. And I think it's really important to have that mentality of living below our means and making sure that we are being smart with where our money is going. Because a lot of times people will say like, well, I don't have money to invest, but yet they're out buying like ATVs and a boat and brand new truck because they can write that off on their business, like different things like that.
Oh, don't get me started on the write-offs.
But I mean, just really being strategic about where you're putting your money and what you're doing with it. Is it providing value for you, whether that's within your business or within your personal life?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not just spending because, oh my gosh, now I have this money. I can buy all these things that I never had money to purchase before, because then it's just going to go away. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times people, there's so many misconceptions about IRAs and 401ks out there. And they always say, okay, you save all this money and then, you end up and you're going to have to give half of that back to the government in taxes as you pull it out. And I'm always like, okay, a good withdrawal strategy is going to limit your tax liability.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to do far better than that, especially in the state of Utah. And And even better if you're in a state that doesn't have state income tax at all.
Right.
However, you've grown, let's say you've grown a $1 into $1,000. And even if you had to pay an absurd tax rate of 50%, you still have $50 or sorry, $500, right? If you take that dollar and you buy a truck you didn't need, and then you write it off, you have one of two problems. If you sell it for, money. Well, I don't know what else you'd sell it for, but if you sell it and you make money, right? People give you money and you depreciate it down to zero, you're going to pay a recapture tax likely. And it's not uncommon that I would see that people, when they're using the strategy, like the recapture tax is actually higher than what their income tax liability would have been. So it's kind of almost backwards anyways.
Yeah.
But even if you don't sell it and you just keep the truck, you write it down to zero and eventually the truck's pretty much worthless, right? So now you have half and nothing. You just had $0.
Yeah.
You had a truck along the way, but you had nothing, you know what I mean? Yeah. So this concept that if you take a tax advantage to put money in an IRA or a 401k or whatever, tax chassis you choose, that it's somehow a bad deal because you have to pay tax on it later. It's just you're failing to complete the full plan, which is not just put the money in, but then grow the money. And then the third part is have the tax efficient way to start turning it into an income stream, right?